Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced, head of DevRel at Dremio, and what I want to do is show you some of the nice sort of fine touches as far as allowing sort of AI generation to help accelerate your ability to use Dremio effectively. Now first I want to show you, I think one that's super underappreciated is, okay, so here in the jobs panel you can see all the different jobs that have been coming in to the Dremio cluster. You can kind of see their ID numbers, which user submitted it, what data sets they were accessing, what type of query was it. So this case, these were mostly queries that I ran in the UI, but I can again filter for different types of queries. What engine it was using, when it happened, the duration, and what the key SQL is. So I get a basic view. Now, if I want to see any of these in more detail, so let's go take a look at this. Actually, I want to see. Okay, let's do this one. Okay, so I'm taking a look at this query here. Okay, and then I get to this sort of more in-depth overview where I can kind of see again more details about sort of what was going on with the query. I can see query time. Actually, not this one because this is a create view query, so it's not going to have much going on. What I want to do is see. Let's take a look for a select. Okay, let's just do the select start query here. But I can see sort of like how much time it's spent within each phase of executing the query. And then if it's like a view, I can go back over here and kind of like get a deeper view of the SQL. Then there's the visual profile. And this gives you an even more in-depth look at all the different sort of steps that the Dremio engine took and how long it took to do them. This is a great way to sort of identify bottlenecks and queries are not running the way you'd like, to kind of see how they can be improved. And then you can see an even more detailed version with the raw profile. Okay, now what's nice is that there's this little button here called explain this job. What this will do is actually use the AI to help better understand the steps that this job took, along with maybe advice on how to improve the query. So we'll let it generate, but the idea is, you might be looking at this and not really being like, I'm not sure if this clarifies anything for me to be helpful. And, you can always go to support, but if you can self-serve, isn't that pretty awesome? So in this case, we see the AI agent is working. It's being given the query profile. So you see it went and got the job profile for this query, passed it off to the AI agent who's now analyzing it. I'm going to give it some output in just a moment. Here we go. So here it breaks it down, sort of like what the purpose was, execution time. Okay, now it's telling you sort of what are the top operators by sort of like their cost time-wise, and you can kind of see those stats there. And then it'll give you some notes on what it kind of noticed. Okay, some details on like memory usage, sort of, etc. And just give you just a bunch of details so you can better understand sort of what this is. Now, of course, again, just like there always has been, you can download that raw query profile down here, so that way you can, if you do ever need support, you can then pass them that query and they can better understand how to troubleshoot for you. Okay, so that's one. Okay, and that was one where I was just like, oh, okay, that's a really nice touch. But also when you were looking at your data sets, one of the beautiful features of Dremio is the semantic layer. Okay, and the semantic layer is made up of a lot of different pieces. So if I were to go to some data set here, let's go to this, no, not that one. Let's go to movies, recipes. Let's go to music. Oh, actually, no, Gov was a better choice. It's a little, but let's say I were to go to like the silver data set. Okay, so right now it's a view. And right now, if I go to Open Details panel, and then I'm going to head over to the Detail view, I can see here that this Details panel is essentially like where you can kind of see the data for the semantic layer. And generally, it's going to be the columns. Okay, you're going to have some other sort of metadata about how many descendants it has and things like that here. And then here you have the wiki. Now, you could write your own markdown, and you can always supplant it, but you can get a quick start by clicking Generate Wiki. Okay, and then this is just going to create a basic wiki. So just give it a moment. It's generating the wiki. And that's going to show you like the schema, a little inferred description of the data set, and a sample sort of row or sample data so to illustrate sort of the kind of data you see in this data set. So you see here, it explains the schema. Okay, and it can infer it can infer a lot of the details, sort of what the detail is from the context of sort of where it is, like if it's namespace of the data sets that it descends from. Okay, so this contains data sets, maintains information requests made by citizens, including details, request, IT status, and then row. And again, what's useful about doing this is that this data gets pulled in by the MCP server when you're leveraging the agentic AI to do queries and do analytics. So the more you put data you put in the wiki, and then again also generating tags, which you can click here to generate tags. Okay, so it's going to, and then here it goes. It created some tags for us to generate. We hit save, and now those data sets are tagged. And again, that's going to make it easier to search using the search bar. But again, now it makes it much easier for me to do this for dataset to dataset. To at least make sure that it has some sort of basic documentation that users who are exploring the different datasets and trying to understand what each dataset is can much more quickly kind of go read the wiki and understand what's been curated for them. Okay. Now, other little tips is sometimes what I'll do is I'll actually go use the either integrated AI agent or an external AI tool to even generate even more detail for the wiki. You just sit there and give it this, and then say, hey, ask it for what the other things you want. Maybe asking you, say, here are some example metrics or some example queries for different use cases, and put that all in that wiki. But yeah, but the only thing to keep in mind is that the wiki feature, this wiki generation and tag generation feature, is not turned on by default. That's still currently a experimental feature. So you want to turn that on, you would go to project settings, and then you go to preferences, and you'll see down here, you can then turn that feature on. All these other features are generally turned on by default. So with that, I'll see y'all later. Have a great day and enjoy.